and this is the Circle of Love and Light. I'm here today with my wonderful co-host, Gretchen Comer, who is a fellow coach healer and more. um, and we're focusing this week on seeing things in a whole new light, which is a topic actually that came through an oracle reading, which we're going to actually read the cards to you today too. And it wasn't something I necessarily would have thought of, but I think it's such an important area to always be open to seeing things in new and different ways. And I think both of us probably can give examples as we're talking today of times when we've been challenged by what we've been hearing, but it's important really to remain open. So anyhow, here we are, and I want to put up my little message thing so I can reply to any messages. We're also going to change the format, our usual format, just a little bit, because we want to, in terms of seeing things in a new light, we're going to do the meditation early on rather than after a half an hour or so, because that can be part of our way of opening and maybe getting something new that we never would have considered before. And that's exciting. So we will, as I mentioned, also we're going to start with, we're reading the cards that we have for the oracle reading. And Buddy is with us today too, this little baby boy. So before we begin, I want to thank you for joining us as always. The circle is here every week at this time for all of us to live more fully, to grow, to stand up as beacons of light for the world, and just bring light into our lives at the beginning of each week, which I think is really important. I was talking with someone the other day about Mondays. Mondays are the days when there are the most heart attacks, people going back to work. Well, we can carry our light with us wherever we're going to go, whether we're going back to work or whatever we're doing. I see Sharon's here. Hi, Sharon. It's wonderful to see your name anyhow. And of course, I want to take a moment, as always, to just breathe a little bit and center ourselves, bring our energy more fully into our bodies in the moment here together. And I see Nikki. Hi, Nikki. Wonderful to see you. She says, happy to see you and hear what you have to say. Wonderful. Thank you. So just settling in for a moment. Imagining a big, big ball of love and light around you from the beings of light who are so generously supporting all of us. And just breathing in that light. Feeling yourself in your body. And somehow I'm getting to thank Mother Earth for supporting us. I do that more and more these days, because when I thank Mother Earth, I always receive love back. And it's such a wonderful way to ground ourselves in the moment and recognize that we are part of something bigger that's alive and growing. Okay, so with that, we're ready to start. And as I mentioned, we're going to start with a reading. And what we have is two cards. I'm going to show you them just very briefly, and then we'll go into descriptions. So the first one is Lady Venus. This is from Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light Oracle. Just a beautiful, beautiful being, Lady Venus. And her card says, downloads and understandings. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. That's kind of the overview, which is so beautiful. And the second one, it's a significator card, which is drawn from the major arcana of the Angel Wisdom Tarot. And a significator it's another card to give you more insights on what the topic is, actually. So it's interesting. This card is the card number 12 in the major tarot, which is in this deck, it's Awakening. In the traditional tarot, this is the Hanged Man. You can see this fellow here hanging upside down, obviously seeing things in a new light. it says a temporary pause for reflection and insight, an awakening where you see things in a whole new light. Embrace your own uniqueness. So from there, Gretchen, would you like to continue and share a little more about Lady Venus, this beautiful being? I can hold up the card while she's doing that.
Sure, sure. So Lady Venus is actually the twin flame of being known as Sanat Kumara, and it's said to reside on the astral realm on the planet Venus. And so the light beings of Venus, known as the Venusians, are now coming to light workers on Earth, which are many of us. Those of you who tune in are often light workers, and to help them with their connections of understanding their capacity to share divine love. And I think that's really important part of this card, because it's accessible to all of us. We are all able to receive and share divine love. And Lady Venus is a wonderful keeper of the light to call on when you're trying to forge a connection with your source, or finding it difficult to understand maybe signs or symbols and guidance that's already being sent to you through meditation. And she allows us to connect with and focus our particular energies so that we can understand them more. And so if right now you happen to be studying a spiritual subject at this time, she's a wonderful being to call on to help you. And Kyle Gray, the gentleman that created these cards, actually added a little bit of information here. It says hearing high-pitched noises, seeing flickers of light, and having the sense that beings are visiting you in your sleep are all signs that you're receiving downloads from heaven or your source. And whenever this is happening, just spend some time contemplating these downloads or this information so that you can ask the universe what you really need to know. And just know that the universe is going to provide that information for you, and it will help you stay centered and ground you into this new level of understanding. And so much on our planet is changing right now, and we're all being called to kind of raise our vibration and change with that. So this card is a beautiful reminder of how we have that support through Lady Venus.
Right. So beautiful. And just a little addition on that, I guess I have to put her in front of me. These cards, I they're almost I can't think of the word right now. They're just a little I don't want to say scary, but it's like I look at those cards, and like Lady Venus, you see her looking at you. I feel like she's actually there looking at me. And of course, with each of the masters and these beings of light, they have their own unique energetic signatures. And I think actually, to me, it feels real. I'm also just going to hold up Sanat Kumara. We can maybe read about him a little bit too before we're done with all this. He's a beautiful, considered a very high vibration cosmic being who is here to help with the ascension of humanity. He looks very otherworldly and intriguing for sure. And just going into the awakening card a little bit. Where did my book go for this one? There it is. I'm going to read a little bit about this. And I think for both of us, Gretchen and I talked about this a little bit before we started. With oracles, for us to present them to you, our goal is for you to receive the insights that are there for you. And we don't know exactly what they are. So we're not trying to dictate what they might be, just suggest that you be open to what this all means to you. I've been finding, just focusing on these two cards, I've been finding that quite stimulating actually, because, well, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But anyhow, I'll just read. It says the dreamer, this is the fool in the tarot. The dreamer is back in this card, and his situation will require the help of past languages of the divine. Archangel Chamuel gets a better view of which path to take. And I will show you just briefly. The upside down figure is kind of just there looking kind of in the short range. And there's the angel is looking off into the distance as a bigger picture. I think that's what it's suggesting, which is interesting. The dreamer is back, and he seems to be a little hung up. Is he taking some time to rethink and reflect, or is he just in a playful mood and wanting a break? His demeanor seems to say, ta-da, look what I can do. And yet all of his belongings are falling out all over the ground. The archangel in the card seems to be quite focused on something in the distance, but the dreamer is oblivious. And it goes on to say, the world looks different when you're upside down. Life is presenting the dreamer with the opportunity to see things in a different way, to gain a new perspective. He's not in any way tied to this moment, so clearly any halt in his progress is temporary. The dreamer has evolved into a unique and quirky soul. He's willing to be himself without caring what others think. Perhaps you should follow his lead. In this one, Rodley Valentine wrote this one, and under additional meanings, he always has additional meanings for cards. It says unexpected changes, seeing beyond what's obvious, hidden action behind apparent standstills, exploring past lifetimes, unusual solutions, and epiphanies. I love that word, epiphany.
Epiphanies. Yeah, that's a great word.
Yeah, we can open in the meditation today for epiphanies.
Right. I think that's a beautiful message, because I feel like the symbolism around the full kind of all of his belongings, he's oblivious to all the belongings kind of falling out of his pockets onto the ground, is kind of like letting go of those things that no longer serve us. You know, we're seeing things in a new way. So we're learning that what used to work maybe doesn't work now. So we're flipping it upside down. You know, we're upside down now, seeing it in a different way. And with those items kind of represent to me just the symbolism of letting go of those things that really don't serve us anymore, that we don't need.
Right. Yeah, they kind of fall away as we shifted our perspective. Yeah, that's a beautiful way of looking at it.
And him being oblivious is kind of like understanding that they really aren't important. You know, they're not important to losing them. So what?
Right. Yeah, he's still entranced with the experience of being upside down.
Right. Exactly.
It's not always that easy on the path to self-discovery, I don't think.
Right, exactly.
Nice. I see Lula's here. Hi, Lula, and welcome. She says, good morning, powerful and beautiful ladies. It's wonderful to have you here too. And we're going to go into the meditation soon. Now we have Buddy. Demando dog, we call him sometimes. Just thinking about this, it reminded me of a quote from Albert Einstein that I really like. He said, we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that saying. Yeah, it's so, I have to remind myself of that sometimes, because it really is asking, you know, what else is possible? Being able to see things in a new light. What else is possible? You know, what haven't I considered? You know, that's a great question. You know? Yeah. And
those are some of the most powerful questions.
Right. I agree. So simple, but life transforming, and have been for me to ask that, because I think I came from a lot of programming where it was either black and white, very polarized thinking, and to ask what else could be possible, even though maybe your logical mind may think these are the only two options. It's amazing. Okay, so what's it going to hurt if I ask this question? You know, what's it going to hurt to say? And I am absolutely blown away every time I ask it, because I always get a third, fourth, fifth, sixth option. You know,
that's where things actually open up, I think, for the creative mind, really.
Yeah.
The creator in us. Yeah.
So powerful. Yeah. To be able to do that. And it doesn't hurt, you know, so if you don't come up with a third answer, that's fine. You know, just keep seeking it, you know, you'll find it. And, but it is so powerful. And I think transformative for people to just remember to ask that, you know.
Yeah. You can see in society how polarized it is. It's usually this or that, like I'm good, you're bad. You know, this kind of I'm right, you're wrong.
Right. And that keeps us in that lower vibration. You know, this card is an invitation to hear the truth that's being revealed. The Lady Venus card is about truth being revealed, and deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. And I think that's a way of seeing things in a whole new light, you know, to understand and trust that is coming to all of us, you know, if we stay open to it. And I think the theme today of seeing things in a whole new light is it's like a loving invitation to all of us, you know, to ask what else could be possible.
And I was thinking a little bit about it in relation to Thanksgiving. I was thinking, well, maybe we should just do the show on gratitude. And then I thought, no, this actually, I think this can really help us to get into that place as we're going into the holidays, which can be stressful and where there can be conflicts of asking what else might be possible for us.
Right. Yeah.
And, and with the ascended masters and the angels, I think it really follows what Einstein was saying too. We cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. And the reason I want to go into the meditation is because we can actually connect with the frequency, which we're going to do of Lady Venus. And I'm going to connect also with Saint Germain. We can do a little violet flaming, and maybe Sanat Kumara also. And we can receive wonderful gifts of light and illumination, spiritual illumination from these beings and the other beings in our own families of light, the beings who are around us. So that's what we're going to open to. Do you feel like you're ready for that, Gretchen?
I think that sounds wonderful. Let's do it.
Yeah, and then we'll see what happens. And for all of us, what I invite you to do, and it doesn't matter if you're here with us live or anytime, because we're always here together regardless of time and space, just have the intention of having some kind of an epiphany or whatever it is that you would like to have, an insight of receiving some kind of an awareness that you never had before, because they're there. And it's very exciting when they arrive. So, okay. I guess I'll keep Buddy. He just keeps coming back. He's a boomerang. Okay, and with that also, just some of the most profound things that have come to me, and I think we can talk about this. Gretchen probably has had this happening too in recent times, have been so far beyond what I believe is possible that I might be tempted just to reject them offhand. And it's important to stay open. So whatever it is, whatever insights you receive, they can't help us if we don't open to things being possible that we never would have even believed before. Right. So we're going to meet them part way also. First, just as always, closing our eyes again, if you can, in the space you're in. And surrounding yourself with that beautiful love, that light from the universe all around, breathing in that light and love. And as you exhale, releasing anything you don't need right now, any energy that you sense around you that is of a lower vibration, any tension you feel in your body, breathing in light and releasing. So you can feel more present and lighter with each breath. And something I always do for myself when I go into an inner realm is just asking any energy that is not your own to leave your space now with your intention. So you can just be in your space with your own energy. We pick up a lot of energy from other people, other places. You can just send it back lovingly where it came from. You might feel lighter doing that. And similarly, we leave bits of ourselves in other times and other places. So you can ask for any of your own energy that is able to come back to you now from other times and places, that it comes back to you. And you might feel it. I have this feeling of energy moving in. It's very strange but true. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to meet these beautiful ascended beings not halfway maybe, but partway. And I'd like to imagine breathing in lighter energy. And today we're going to take a big leap of awareness, imagining ourselves on top of the world. So the whole of the earth is beneath us, Mother Earth supporting us and grounding us and keeping us safe. And also the whole of the universe is around us. And just opening to the awesome view. All of the planets, and you might notice the planet Venus sparkling at us in awareness of our focus on Lady Venus. And then just asking Lady Venus to join us so we can connect with her unique energetic frequency and opening to her own energetic signature in relation to all of your senses. You might see something, you might feel something, you might hear something. Just notice what you notice. Feeling her energy with us. Just feels beautiful. And I'd also like to invite her twin flame, Sanat Kumara, to join us. Again, opening to his energetic signature in the same way, what you feel, what you see, what you hear. I'm hearing that they're very grateful that we're here with them and willing to open to something new. Just feeling the strength of his energy, an ascended cosmic being, just a magnificent being. And I'm also going to invite in Saint Germain to join us. I would like to do that because I think it would be wonderful to start with just releasing with the violet flame. It transmutes energy. We can imagine that beautiful violet light around us. It's like an amethyst. All the shades of violet and lavender, little sparkles of white, pure light. Just imagine it, the perfect image of a violet flame for you. Asking it to clear out anything that might be holding us down right now that we can release so that we can rise to this occasion where we can receive these blessings from above. This is something you can do anytime, and it is just a very, very powerful transmutive process, like alchemy, changing lead into gold, changing anything that is not of the light into love and joy. And if you do this over time, then it continues to clear out blocks, or you could say karmic energy that's holding you back. For now, we can just feel how it allows us to open even more to the light. And it surprised me when I first did this that I do end up feeling very joyful. I'm feeling really, really joyful right now. And now we can open to, as Gretchen was suggesting, what else might be possible? What is something you never considered before that these beings of light who are around you have been waiting to tell you? Just opening with pure intent and willingness to hear the truth and consider what you hear, what you experience, because you might have feelings, you might just sense, you might just have a knowing come. You might see images. Just ask, what is here for me? What is possible? The stars seem to be twinkling at us. And this too, the whole thing is something you can do anytime to open to new insights. So I'm going to bring us back, not that we're leaving anything behind, that actually we're bringing more of ourselves and more of what's possible with us. Just imagining, and then we can discuss what we've perceived. So coming back, just breathing in more active energy, allowing yourself to drift back down, being aware that you're in your seat with your feet fully grounded to Mother Earth. Breathing in that active energy, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
I just wanted to stay there, but I always feel like that.
Yeah,
It was
it did feel really
beautiful.
good. Yeah.
Right. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, it was for me too. And I actually, they said something to me that was new.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Did you get anything new?
Um, it was more of a confirmation of an idea that I've had in in creating something new to offer to the world in one of my offerings, and it was about creating a program that's focused on self-love. And so I felt like it was a real confirmation. I actually felt Venus on my left, and I felt uh,
Sanat
Sanat on
Kumara.
my right, Sanat on my
Right.
right, and which was interesting because the left side of the body is, feminine, and the
Right.
right side is
Right.
masculine. But I
And
felt
I
like
don't
they
know,
both
just before you go any further with that, I don't know if you realize that Sanat Kumara is considered to be the epitome of the divine masculine. So that
it's
is
beautiful.
the
Yeah,
epitome of the divine masculine and feminine. And
beautiful.
that's the way I see the divine masculine and feminine with me in
Right.
that way too.
I felt like their arms were like one had one arm around, Venus had a arm around my back, and he had his left arm around my back. We were just kind of walking along, and I felt like it was just everything I was experiencing was reaffirming that what I'm doing right now is what I need to do, and that I'm on the right path, and that if I allow it to, and let more love and light into my life, that it will help impact the world at large. And so it really is about sharing our light with the world, and that's part of what this card said today. And I felt like that was reaffirming that, in order to bring about effective change in our life and in our world, we need to see things in a whole new light. So that was just reaffirming the theme of today for me as well. Yeah, it was
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Beautiful. So, but it starts with self-love, and that's kind of the message that I was receiving, is it really does start with self-love. In order for us to share love with the world, we have to love ourselves.
Right. And honor who we are.
Right. Right.
I think the thing that really surprised me in the insight that I received, which was from Sanat Kumara, was that my vision, and my goal now working with people, is to bring out the masters that reside within us. That we exist in all the dimensions right now. And it's really, if we're talking about bringing spirit fully into form, we're talking about bringing that highest level of self down in to this time of awakening for humanity, so that we can be pillars, really, pillars of light.
Right.
And what he said is that it is possible that this could occur within my lifetime, which is something I didn't really think about it, but I never would believe that that's actually true. I think, well, we're aiming for this,
Sure.
kind of like it's a nice theory. We'll see.
Right. We don't know how long the process will take. Right.
Maybe a few hundred years, but
right. Exactly. Oh, that's a beautiful message, though. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was something I never considered before, for sure.
Right.
Like I said, I just thought of it as a beautiful thing, and I've received a lot of insights on my own, as I think many, probably maybe even all the people here who are with us right now at least know, some pretty specific insights on my past all the way back to Atlantis, and that was one of the things also, just accepting that is something that I felt crazy at times. It felt like it was so far out of my range of thinking that it was hard for me to even consider. I don't think I told Philip about it for months after I started getting all of this, which came in increments, and there's still more coming. It's just different things surrounding it, but now for me, it feels fine. I'm fine with it, which is kind of surprises me, because I couldn't even talk about it for a long time. And now I'm okay, because I know it's not, when I say I have an understanding of that in myself, what I also have is an understanding that exists in all of us.
Right.
So it isn't like I'm trying to separate myself out from anybody else by saying I have this identity or that identity. It's actually understanding that we all are masters. We all are fully enlightened beings on some level. And it really is about us opening to the point where we can receive as much as we can in this body. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to evolve either, but it's really quite a dream when you think that those of us who are open to it, those of us who are light workers and way showers, however we view ourselves, star seeds, who knows? Who knows what might be possible?
Right. I think it's beautiful, because the very short write-up meaning for the Lady Venus card that you had chosen was that deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. That's for all of us. That was a collective reading for all of us. And I think that's beautiful. It's a good reminder that we can all do this,
Right. And it's so important that I mentioned the factors that I think are the most important, which are, well, to come from a loving place for sure. And also to meet them part way, which is to rise to an elevated place that is where you can feel the love and the light within yourself, which is interesting. You were focusing on that too, loving yourself, just loving oneself. And then having pure intent for the truth and willingness to at least be open to what they might want to tell you.
Sure. Yeah.
Rather than saying, because part of this thing with my past history started in the 1990s, but I just rejected it all until recently. There were some things I didn't reject, but they were easier on me than the things that were directly connected with, like, my own past lives and things like that. But it's here for all of us.
Right. I think that's the beautiful part of it too, is I feel like the things as they are being revealed to me as I get older and more aware, that I'm ready for them. And maybe I wouldn't have been 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Maybe I wouldn't have been ready for it. And I've had similar experiences where I feel like, some very strange experiences as well that I probably was not as open to as I am now, having with the information that's given to me with God, from guides or ascended masters or angels or source. And so I think that's the hardest part, I think, is staying open to it, that you are magnificent, you are unique, and you are worthy of receiving these beautiful messages, and they will help guide you. We just need to stay open to it and trust it, trust that we're receiving them for a reason, and that what we're experiencing for a reason. It isn't just figments of our imagination all the time. So
yeah,
it's beautiful.
Well, and I think the thing about loving yourself too, I can tell one story that's related to all of this. It was around 2007, I think. I started actually doing the soul centering process that we do, connecting with the love in the heart, in the late 1980s, and connected with a guide. I had a name for her. And that guide, I would meet with that guide when I would do my meditations in the morning and receive guidance. And I was very comfortable. So this was by 2007, that was almost 20 years later. And I did understand other connections that I had that were not quite so direct. But in 2007, I sat down one day to do my meditation, and my guide wasn't there. There was another being there. And I immediately was like, who are you? You know? And the being said, Divine Mother. And I said, you mean Mother Mary? I was completely confused because I had no preparation that there was going to be a change. I didn't know, and so, and she said, no, Mother, Father, God. And that just blew me away. I just couldn't quite figure that one out. But after a little bit of reflection, I thought, well, I'll just consider it and continue. I need to have my guidance. So I continued with my meditations in the morning and connecting with now Divine Mother, probably not fully integrating exactly what was occurring. And then that only went on for a short time. I can't remember, it wasn't probably even a week. And so I sat down for my meditation and Divine Mother was gone. And I said, well, who is this? And the voice, and it makes me teary just to say it, the voice said, this is God. And that was one of those things, it was way beyond anything I could consider. And I think partly it's because who am I, thinking, and this is going back to self-love, who am I to say that I can connect with God? I just thought I can't even consider this. And I stopped meditating for probably about 3 months. And I knew that it wasn't a good thing. I knew that it was throwing me off, but I didn't know what to do. And I couldn't believe that that was possible.
Sure.
And that's an example of when they tell you things, if you reject them right away, it may not be quite the most effective approach.
Right.
But the thing that happened then eventually is I went to a weekend seminar, and there was a woman there who I knew who was a channel. And I asked her, well, I told her what happened, and I asked her, is this real? And she said, yes. And I thought, well, maybe it is real. And it was interesting because we were out in the country at this seminar, and we were the place was on a hill, and then down towards the bottom there was a little pond. It wasn't big enough even to be a lake, but it was very picturesque, a little pond down there. So I went down there, and I was there all alone, and I thought, well, I'm going to ask the universe, is this true? And I asked for a sign. And what I was expecting actually is that it was this was at a place where geese come by, for different times of year. And I thought, well, I was expecting to see geese come by in a V formation. It's kind of like you kind of determine what it's going to be, what you're going to get as a sign. And so I was looking around, and I didn't see anything. And then I felt this profoundly powerful energy in my body and realized that that was it. That was the sign. That was the energy coming from God. And when I recognized it and I said, oh, okay, I'm going to consider this. I'll accept this, figuring that I could just accept it and not, if I find out that it's not true, then fine, later. But I did that, and then guess what came? Then the geese came.
That's great. I love it. Just in case you needed another
right. Well,
right?
Oh, you can have the geese. Go
okay.
Ahead.
Cue the geese. Yeah.
Cue the geese.
That's great. That's wonderful. That's such a good, that's such a beautiful message too, Jane, because I think, there's a common theme in our world that God is very one direction, that you can talk to God, but God does not talk to you. And I think as I've gotten older and tried to become more aware of things that are outside of me, I've found that that's really not the truth. And you talk to many spiritual people and they'll agree that it's not the truth, that God God is source. God is in everything. And so to have a conversation with God is totally possible, you know.
Yeah, I would say so.
Absolutely. And you may experience God through different, emanations of other things. You might experience it through an angel or an archangel or an ascended master or a goddess or a god or
Right.
A light being or, whatever you perceive. But all of it is part of the whole. So I
Right.
think it's a beautiful reminder to all of us that it is accessible and that God does talk to us, we just need to be open to it. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah. And I found actually that was because now that was almost, well, it was, I guess, 15 years ago. That having that connection has really, I think, been helpful to me with healing because source energy and God is love. Love is really, I've become very certain in my belief in love and light and oneness as the most important healing factor.
Yes.
And it's actually simple, and of course, you can do so much when you understand that, and then just bring that potential and I call that pure potential now, just being in that place of anything is possible, and let's just see where all of this is taking us. With clients, it's been very, I think it's been very soothing for me because I really feel now it's not like I'm doing anything, even if I'm healing. It's like I'm just here in this energy of the oneness that
Right.
is supporting the whole process and just helping people to come to that recognition on some level that it's there for them too.
Right. I think with practice, I think it's something that becomes more second nature to us.
Right.
And then it's really easy to get quickly into that higher vibrational state. It's not as much of a process or a formality as it is maybe at first. And that's also nice to know that it just gets easier with time, and practice.
It does. It just becomes, it's kind of like what I was saying about my history. It becomes kind of the just something that's there. It's like this is the
Right.
way
It
it
just
is,
is.
and
Yeah.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
Then it's not an
Yeah.
issue anymore.
Right.
I was thinking of this topic also in relation to earlier this month. We did one of the circles we did was about rising above the illusions of the mass consciousness and all of the turmoil that's going on now. I think it is challenging for those of us who are healers and light workers and such to see that the hatred and the meanness and the fear and all of that is being aroused and is occurring on the planet, and I think that we can be aware of it without also allowing ourselves to go down and wallow in the mud with them. I think it's important not to, that we have to keep our spirits up. And if we can recognize that, then it goes back to Einstein. We don't want to be in that place where that was causing the problems. We want to be in the place where the solution exists.
Right. The place of pure possibility. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so this
Right.
just that I feel like this message today really just reinforces that.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Like I said, I feel like it's a loving invitation to all of us just to see what else is possible, and seeing things in a whole new light really will put us on a whole different trajectory maybe than we had anticipated. And that's beautiful too. Let's just see what happens, and again, that's part of trusting that what we are experiencing is what we're meant to be experiencing. And it's all generated from that place of love. And I think as long as we connect with that place, that vibration of love first, we're going to have these amazing messages come through, these downloads that they talk about. And I love how the card for the Lady Venus says truth is being revealed.
Right.
Yeah. So trust it.
Yeah, it's
trust
beautiful.
it.
Yeah, the whole thing. And I want to go back to the thing about loving yourself, because I know also, and you've probably had this experience with clients too, that many people feel that God has abandoned them or that they're in some way not worthy. That is all part of the illusion. It's not true. And if you can be in that place, I think I'm feeling like I'm going to read about Sanat Kumara because he's very powerful. And I think also for anybody who has a pure heart and pure intent, he's here for us. He's actually one of the beings, the the ascended masters who's here really to support us in the ascension if we're open to receiving. So it says, and I can try, I don't know if I can hold this up at the same time, just that beautiful otherworldly face. Light activation. Shine your light. Your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. Sanat Kumara, which means eternal youth, is an advanced cosmic light being who is dedicated to helping the earth rise up toward the light. He is, as far as I'm concerned, that's what's his name? Kyle Gray, is that it? Kyle Gray?
Yes,
Yeah.
Kyle Gray.
Kyle Gray. As far as I'm concerned, the leader of the Keepers of the Light. So he's one of the head beings of the Ascension, supposedly. He has been acknowledged as a god in Hinduism and in the Mahabharata story, I might have pronounced that wrong, which has come down from heaven bearing God's divine plan. In more recent times, he has been acknowledged as coming from Venus and bringing through unconditional love. But he says, I love that. He says, I love this story. He has eyes that are made of the cosmos with the ability to penetrate the soul and activate its brightest light yet. He can seem otherworldly because his looks are beyond human. He is a being of the light, shining with the purest intentions. He is the twin flame of Lady Venus. Together they activate the heart and light of those who welcome their help so they can shine brighter than ever. So if you need to have some healing in your heart, you can call on him or them together. I thought it was so beautiful the way you had him on your right side and her on your left side, the divine masculine and feminine supporting you energetically in that way. My sense of him today and just recently connecting with him is he is here for us, and it's not like it's far away. We just have to do those things that I suggested of meeting him halfway and being there, willing to hear the truth. And then they're both here for us.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful that what you read about how he has eyes that can see into us. And I think there's something really comforting to know that there is a light being that can kind of see the truth of us and still extend this beautiful energy of love and acceptance and this place of non-judgment, because I think we live so much in a world, in this 3D world, that is our earth, where we're always in these different kind of fluctuating states of acceptance and self-love and how the world perceives us and our ability to care or not care of that, depending where we are on our spiritual path. I think there's something really comforting to know that there are light beings out there that can kind of see to the core of us, good and bad, and still want to help raise us up, further to the light with their love. So that's beautiful. That's a beautiful supportive energy, that we can call on.
And they see us as masters. My experience, I've been connecting a lot with the ascended masters and the archangels and just all these different beings of light in recent times, and they all honor us as equals. And you could say, I think what you were suggesting too, they see into the core of us. You could say they see to the highest heights of who we are. And it's their greatest desire is for us to bring that fully in, that awareness into the truth of our experience here.
Beautiful.
It really is. It's
and
it can feel pretty overwhelming. It can feel very overwhelming in a way, just like how could all of this be possible in from the perspective that it is so magnificent. The experience of it. But it is.
Thank goodness they can.
Right.
Thank goodness for us that they can.
Right.
That's lovely.
Yeah. And this oracle, the Keepers of the Light, this is this is Lady Amethyst on the cover of the little book that goes with it. It's a wonderful oracle. If you want to learn more about the masters, that's what I've been using, and just drawing cards to be introduced to different ones and finding it really amazing.
I agree.
I think we all have a family of light. There's a relatively small group of masters and archangels who are here for each of us. We each have our own, you could call it team in spirit, although I don't like the word. That's I think it is more like family of light, that they're here with us. They're around us all the time, and they're trying to draw attention to themselves, like, here I am, you know, I'm here for you, didn't you know? And they might change over time, kind of like my guidance changed as our energy, as our vibration rises, then we can reach higher heights.
Right.
And they change, and also depending on what's going on, they might change. But it really is, it's just such an incredible story when you think of what's really happening here. That's what I think is happening.
Right. It's inviting us to stay open to possibility. It's inviting us to see the blessings and all opportunities as blessings, and the ability to create this magnificent life. You know, to me, it feels like, especially from the beings of light, it feels always like an invitation. You know, like we're here and this is available to you, but you know, you have to accept the invitation. You know,
right.
So, right.
And you have to rise above the ego to that. I think that just those few things, pure intent, you know, willingness to trust and to consider what they provide. And I think one other thing is to follow up on what they suggest.
Right.
Because they can't, if they're guiding you and you're not, if you're saying, oh, I get that, you know, I heard that, and then you just go back to where you were before, that's not progress. And it's just really important there's that difference, I call it the difference between knowledge and being. Like you can know about things, like I always think of the obvious ones, like don't get hung up on the small stuff. Don't let that ruin your day and drag your energy back down into the mud. And you might say, oh, I've heard that before. Well, have you actually, are you being that? Are you being those words?
Right. That's
the important thing. And the other one is letting go of things you cannot change. That's where I feel that with all of the turmoil that's happening on the planet. We can be aware of it. We can send healing energy. We can send love. We can send violet flame energy. But allowing ourselves to be dragged down into it doesn't help anybody.
Right.
And we have to recognize it's not about saying, well, yes, I've heard that. I know that. Well, why are you frowning, you know? Yeah, this has been really beautiful.
It is. I feel like, you know, it also is a reminder to us that we always have a choice and that we can always choose love. You know, we always have that choice ahead of us. And love is that regenerative force in the universe that keeps things moving, keeps things going, and is the foundation of all. So I think again, it's just it's an invitation to let that love and that light in, which is what this circle is all about.
Right. Yeah. So that we can be, I somewhere in the meditation, I said something about pillars of light that came through somehow. And it is like, we might be these little, you know, sparks of light. We can be pillars of light.
Absolutely.
Just imagine bringing in the fullness of ourselves, just allowing that. And it is a process. It's not like, oh, here it is.
Here I am. Yeah. Right.
Because we have to, certain changes have to happen energetically for that to occur. But I just, and I think we are becoming brighter. I feel just doing the circle, I'm so grateful for the circle, because I feel that I'm becoming brighter, and I appreciate all of you, Gretchen and Nikki and Sharon and Lula, some of our greatest friends here.
Absolutely. Yeah. We are so appreciative of everybody that watches this too, because I feel like it's the people that are watching it are meant to, and the people that are watching it are going to help send that love and light out. So they just help support, that energy for everyone, so
Right.
that's a beautiful thing too. And it's such a small thing to do, but it's so impacting, on
Right.
the planet as a whole.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, when I think of it, sometimes I think, well, I don't want to spend the time preparing and all of this, but just going through the process of with this reading, and then we talked a little bit about this earlier, and it's very enlightening to me.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have gotten the message that I got from Sanat Kumara today if it hadn't been for that. So I
Right. I
think
learned
it's
something
for all
new.
of
Yeah.
us. Right.
Right. I learned something new every time we do a circle of love and light. I'm always anxious to see what else I'm going to learn.
Right. You never know.
You never know.
None
I
of
love
us know.
that.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That's the magic. That's the beauty of it. That's right.
Right. Yeah. Okay, well, does this feel pretty complete? Oh, I want to hold the planet just for a minute at least.
Yes.
There it is, our planet. Love our planet.
Mhm.
And I think just actually the energy of Mother Earth, for anyone who hasn't connected with that, that's so incredibly supportive.
Yeah.
Okay, so in closing, Gretchen, would you like to share a little bit about how people can contact you and learn more about what you're doing with your
Yes,
work?
thank you. Thank you, Jane. Yes. Most of my offerings you can find on spiraljourney.net. That's my website. That's where I have all of my services that we offer through Spiral Journey. I also have online programs that you can connect different ways with yourself, with your chakras. And I also have a page of free items that you can download, look at, watch, whatever you want to do. I also have some past circles of love and light posted there as well.
Oh,
So
that's a good idea.
people can watch some of those videos as well. And you can find me on Instagram at Spiral Journey Gretchen, or you can find me on Facebook at Spiral Journey Holistic Life Services. And I'd love to connect with people. So stop by and say hi.
Wonderful. Thank you. And for Awakenings Institute, we have a free resource kit for light workers, spiritual healers, and way showers, and the like, whatever you are in kind of that neighborhood.
It's wonderful.
It has a happy tap video with EFT, some spiritual resources, an excerpt from our book, The Loving Power of Your Soul, and I'm not sure all of the things, but you can get it at tinyurl.com/spiritual-kit. I also wanted to mention we created an ebook called The Solution, Make a Difference and Change the World with the Power of Love, which is really what we're talking about here. And we designed it actually for all of us and more even. I want to just mention Sharon. I see this message. Gravity is Mother Earth hugging us.
Ooh, I like that.
That's
I like
beautiful.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, the solution is for us, and more even for us to share with those we love who may not be aware of the possibilities of it. Because on a just very basic level, love is life enhancing, and fear and stress and all of those things are debilitating and actually shorten our lives. So that is available at tinyurl.com/444. That's the number 4, 3 times -solution. And you can also connect with us at circleofloveandlight.org. So lots of opportunities there. To support the circle, which we appreciate your presence, and you could like our page that supports us. Share the videos each week with your friends. That's another way to get the love and the light out further, and invite your friends to join you in the circle. That's really wonderful too. So the final thing that we do each week is send all of this collected love and light out into the week ahead so that we have lots of love and light throughout the week. So we can do that now. Just imagine sending it all out there, actually as far as you can see. And having a wonderful week. So with great gratitude, happy Thanksgiving for those in the US, and have a wonderful week.
Goodbye.
Bye.